Hello, today I have the pleasure of making a video for Judges 6, and right off the bat, the Israelites are completely at the mercy of God. It says that the Lord gave them into the hand of Midian 7 years, so God could have just not given them into the hand of Midian, but he decided to do it to test them because the Israelites completely turned away from him, and as we'll see later, they just started worshiping gods like Baal, which God has specifically told them not to do, not just in the Ten Commandments, but I'm pretty sure Baal specifically was forbidden against because of how, common it is for Baal to be worshipped in this area of the world that they're in. And then in verses 7 through 11, God reminded his people that, all he has done for him through this unnamed prophet. It's not even Gideon, though, because Gideon hasn't been called yet. But it kind of seems like this exact scenario has happened before, where it's like, I am the God of Egypt, I'm the God of Israel, who has led you from Egypt and brought you out of the house of slavery. I have delivered you from the hands of the Egyptians and from the hand of all who oppressed you and drove them out before you and gave you their land. God he seems to have to constantly reaffirm what he has already done for the people of Israel, and they seem to just keep forgetting that. It seems like it happens a lot throughout the Old Testament, and it seems like it's going to be a consistent theme throughout Judges as well, as we saw in the Judges video, where it's there's the cycle of they sin, God brings a prophet, they repent, and then they have peace, and then the prophet dies, and they go back into sin, and the cycle just repeats and repeats and repeats for the whole book. So we're probably going to see the phrase in 7 through 11 repeated a lot. And then once Gideon does get called, he resists the call, just like Moses before him, and like Moses and Joshua, God promises to be with them. God may have given them to the Midianites now, but he's helping them to get free. And Gideon just kind of seems to be struggling a little bit with that, where it's no, we're the weakest, we're struggling against the Midianites. He doesn't seem to believe that this is how they're going to get free. He thinks so little of himself that he doesn't think God can use even him. And then I don't know, because he realizes it's an angel of the Lord in front of him that's calling him to be a prophet for Israel. Gideon then makes some food, namely goat meat, broth, and unleavened cakes. And then it says that the angel of the Lord burns it with a staff, so it's kind of like burning a sacrifice, except this time God is the one lighting the fire. And then at the end of his discussion with the angel of the Lord and God, it kind of switches between saying the angel of the Lord and then just the Lord himself speaking directly to Gideon. And at the end of that conversation, Gideon is commanded to tear down the Baal statue. There it is, because his entire family and the town that he's living in seems to just be worshiping Baal through the statue and the Asherah that's next to the statue. And then he's also commanded to, after he tears it down, replace it with an altar for the Lord, and he enlists servants to help him because he's too scared of his family and the other people of the town that they will just try to burn him at the stake or kill him if they find out that he's doing this. And then morning comes, and that's exactly what they do. They determine that it's Gideon who did this because, I don't know how, but they figured it out, and, well, they're right. So what happens then is that they say, hey, they go to Gideon's father, Joash, and they say, hey, your son tore down our Baal statue, and we're mad about that. So then Joash, who trusts Gideon, it seems like he doesn't want to worship Baal, or he just trusts in Baal so much that he thinks that, oh yeah, Baal, he's such a great god, so then he'll just take care of this, right? We don't need to do anything against Baal, or for Baal, because Baal will just take care of it. And unsurprisingly, Baal does nothing, because he doesn't exist. And then, just hold on, got lost in my notes. And then after that, Gideon is called Jerubbaal, or Jerubbaal, probably, which means let Baal contend against him, as just kind of a constant reminder to the people living near Gideon that Baal did nothing. He's kind of failing at being a god. And then finally, Gideon decides to test God, because that's always a good idea. He lays a fleece in the ground and says that if Gideon wakes up and the fleece is wet and the ground is dry, then that must mean that God is choosing Gideon to save Israel. And then it happens, and then he's like, okay, God, don't be mad at me. Well, let's do it again, but this time the opposite. So he wants the ground to be wet, but the fleece to be dry, and then he does that again. So now Gideon is thoroughly convinced that he is the person who God has chosen to save Israel from the Midianites, And these tests kind of reveal that Gideon does not have a lot of faith in God, and it seems like he feels kind of like betrayed and untrusting of God at first because of how little it seems God has done, even though this is completely just because the Israelites turned away from God and started worshiping other gods. And these tests are even against Mosaic law, so they were ill-advised before Gideon even thought of testing God like this. It just doesn't seem like it would be a good idea to test the almighty creator of the universe, but that's Gideon for you. We'll see how God uses him in the next chapter. Thank you for watching.